Outside the city, the Valley of the Kings, a huge underground necropolis where the archaeologist Howard Carter spent 5 years hunting for elusive buried treasures. And just as he was about to give up, he struck lucky.
It's such a compelling story of discovery, of mystery, of magic.
In 1922, Carter stumbled on a set of steps and into the tomb of a 19-year-old king who'd been forgotten by history. The tomb itself doesn't compare to others in Luxor, which are much larger and intricately painted, but it had one major advantage. It was intact.
This is the only tomb we found it complete, or Howard Carter found it complete. The other is robbed. And so many people, they came usually to visit the tomb, especially whom they visited Cairo Museum and saw the stuff of King Tut over there, so they would like to come to see the tomb itself.
It shows the entrance of the Karnak temple. That's
These are the original plate glass photographs of Tutankhamun's treasures taken by this shop owner's grandfather.
24x30. This is for transportation for Tutankhamun stuff from the tomb up to Egyptian Museum in Cairo. This is Howard Carter, yeah.
The discovery of the tomb spawned a mini-industry and kick-started cultural tourism to Egypt.
I remember from my grandfather, before the discovery of King Tut, there was the first war in Europe. So the business was like this. I remember he said that since Carter sent his telegraph to Times magazine, I think, that there is big discovery in Egypt. 10 days after that, the first ship left from Liverpool up to Alexandria. The tourists whole of the town.
For more than 3,000 years, this tomb survived intact, in almost pristine condition. But after only 9 decades of tourism, with up to 1,000 visitors trooping in here every day, well, the conditions deteriorated dramatically. And the main reason for that was this: human breath.
Over the years, since Carter opened the tomb up, the constant changes of humidity, the changes in moisture levels, the airborne pollutants that come in with the people, have an effect on the tomb.
It's not just only the breath, but also there are some people, they touch the walls. And sometimes the people whom they have half sleeves, so sometimes from the body itself, from the skin itself. So it's not so good for the antiquities generally.
Okay.
It's not only Tutankhamun.
Urgent action was needed. Previous attempts at conservation had only made the problem worse, which left one previously unthinkable option, and arguably commercial suicide for Luxor: closing Tutankhamun's tomb to the public. But there was one potential way of taking the heat off the tomb: to create a facsimile, a copy. A technical artist was asked to work on the idea.
We began by deciding that the way to record the tombs three-dimensionally was to use a laser scanning system.
It was a complex job. Aden's digital conservation company, Factum Arte, set to work recording the tomb, taking into account colour, tone, texture, relief, sheen and quality. For every square metre, 100 million bits of data were recorded. The aim? To create a replica that to the naked eye would be identical to the original.
The aim is to capture every speck of sand and every crack in the paint on the surface of the walls.
The team completed the replica and aimed to install it in 2011, but then political events in Egypt began to take over and progress was halted. The revolution against President Mubarak had a huge impact on tourism in the country, and the facsimile project dropped off the radar. Further instability and mass protests, which led to the ousting of the new president, Morsi, resulted in government lockdown, and the replica was left in a basement in Cairo. But now, the replica is finally on its way to Luxor. The first job, to get it out of storage. Moving the heavy and very fragile boxes is a tricky operation. Hopefully still intact, the new tomb is on its way. Thousands of years ago, limestone, granite and gold were taken down the River Nile in order to build the tombs and temples of Luxor. The very same route used to transport the replica. There's fanfare for the arrival of the boxes, and these people have good reason to hope that the replica will mean more tourism for Luxor. Because the impact of the country's instability is plain to see here. Once 10,000 tourists arrived every day. No longer. Hotel occupancy has dropped by more than 95%. Before 2011, this market would be bustling with tourists. Now, there's not one. Walking around this souk, you can really feel the desperation in the air. Most of these market traders are making next to nothing every day. You walk into one of these shops and they'll only then turn the lights on in order to save money. It's heartbreaking.
Egypt without tourism is a dead place. As you see with yourself, temple is empty, market is empty, most of the place empty, the boat is empty, the hotel is empty, every part is empty.
Those who are in work are having to support whole families. Saeed is 16 and has a job at a hotel caring for its camels.
أيوة أنا بشتغل دلوقتي فأبويا ما عنديه الشغل فطبعا أنا اللي بشتغل وأنا بصرف على البيت زي كده ما ينفعش أسيب البيت وأقعد في البيت يعني.
Many of your friends, are they now not working? What are they doing these days?
و8 ما فيش شغل فبيتباع للذبح للأكل. ما عاملين بس فيش شغل فيش سياحة أصلا. وكان لما كنت شغال كان عندنا 25 جمل دلوقتي حيالله بقوا 8 ما فيش شغل فبيتباع للذبح للأكل.
The stakes are high here. Locals need to be persuaded that the new tomb could revive tourism and woo people back to Luxor. Can you really build a brand new tomb so that it looks 3,000 years old? And will it satisfy visitors who may have travelled thousands of miles to see it? There's a new tomb in Egypt, but it's not beneath the ground. It's currently in boxes and is a replica of Tutankhamun's burial chamber, which has been badly damaged by tourism. Another change in government means a decision about where to put it and when has been slow. But finally an agreement is reached that the site will be outside the house of Howard Carter, near the entrance of the Valley of the Kings.
When they have finish all the paper, I was so happy that we'll move it fast before they change their mind.
Before the tomb walls can be erected, the structure needs to be built. Egyptian architect Tariq is in charge of the design and construction.
It's a very unique project. For anyone who has loved this country, we feel that this is something new, to build a tomb. As an architect, to build a tomb which is designed 1,000 years ago, it's very attractive. And also, I feel some responsibility of my history and my heritage, our heritage in Egypt, then this will help us a lot to keep it and for the coming generation.
It's all about turning a shell into a convincing copy of an ancient burial chamber, both inside and out. And that means using the same sort of limestone as the original and chipping and scraping away at it to get an authentic effect. Tariq lets me have a go.
Okay. Yeah, try it.
Is that
yes,
right?
Yes.
It's been done with, but there's more to be done still.
Yeah, but slowly,
Slowly?
and carefully, and then you will feel it. It's like it's a piece of sculpture.
Okay.
Yeah, try it. I trust you. And I told you, if you did anything wrong, I will correct it.
Okay.
Don't worry. Don't worry about it. You have to go back 4,000 years to go inside the mind of somebody who is not existing anymore, and to understand or to catch what you want from this building, which is designed not to be seen or visited. It's a tomb for the king.
With the outer building well underway and the frame of the roof hoisted, the boxes can finally be opened and checked. The carefully recreated wall panels and replica sarcophagus are now being seen for the first time by many of the local workmen.
You make a granite like this granite. If you look, it has a mixture of the red and the black, and the yellow and the cream, and it feels exactly like the stone.
Very good, Doctor. Very good.
Huge flat packages are carefully unwrapped and then assembled like a giant jigsaw.
Got it?
It's all very exciting, but even at this late stage, some locals are harbouring doubts.
People come to Egypt mainly for two things. First two things, the pyramid in Cairo and Tutankhamun tomb in Luxor. So if you show them the replica, they will not feel happy. Everybody wants to see the original.
If those tombs survive thousands of years, tombs robbers, treasure hunters, art collectors, tourists later on, I'm sure that they can survive now with modern technology, with different techniques for ventilation, for protecting the tomb, just being more strict.
The creators of the replica say no such technology exists that can undo the damage that has already been done.
There are many ideas. People want to put screens of glass. People want to put in air conditioning systems. People want to put in fancy lighting. People want to do many things. But the tomb was never meant to be visited. This is the thing we have to respect. The simple truth is the tombs can't take that number of visitors.
I would not want to come all the way from Canada to see replicas in Egypt.
We need to have that passion to see the real thing. If you're seeing a replica, you don't have that same passion.
And now the final piece, the sarcophagus, weighing in at a hefty 300 kilograms. So, how about one last peek at the original tomb? After nearly a century of being the object of so much curiosity, surely it's time to let it breathe and let a younger model take some of the limelight. Down in the burial chamber, there's a gold mummy case, which the replica team didn't have permission to copy. So that'll be one noticeable difference between the two tombs for visitors. But the damage on the walls is clear to see. The simple fact is that for every extra day hordes of tourists are allowed in here, the further it deteriorates. And the more desperate the need for the replica to actually open.
Did I ever doubt that it would happen? I doubted it would happen all the time, and I never doubted it would come to a satisfactory conclusion. The only question is when it was going to come to that conclusion.
And the end is in sight. I finally get a sneak preview before the replica opens. It's definitely lighter. It smells newer, but the paintwork is spot on. It's pretty impressive to me, but will the public buy into it? I asked an Egyptologist who lives locally to give me a more informed perspective. This is the first time you've seen this? First time virtually anybody has seen it?
It's the first time I'm coming here. I'm quite surprised.
Ooh, what do you think? Come closer.
No, I speak, from my heart. Well, I'm sorry, but I have to say it's marvelous. Perfect.
But it's perfection.
It looks so old, it looks so true. And look, this is a copy. Can you imagine? This looks a bit new, maybe. But if you put a glass on top, like it is in other timber, it looks perfect.
What we're talking about here is a change in mindset, a recognition that in the grand scheme of things, going to see the facsimile, the replica, rather than the original, is actually a very positive act.
Hopefully, there's a way that we can both get the tourists back in and preserve the monuments so the tourists will still come. Because if not, there will be a point when people stop coming because they've destroyed something of fundamental importance.
And for Adam, if it's well received, it opens up a whole world of possibilities.
I would love to be asked to go and work to help save the Sistine Chapel. Yes, that's an obvious example where thousands of people go to see an iconic monument, but too many. So no building can sustain that.
And there are even plans to extend the facsimile project back here in Egypt and train local people to create replicas of some of the tombs that are so fragile they've been closed to the public for decades.
This is the start, and I think we will continue to doing a lot of replica related to some other tomb, like city tomb, like other tombs here, to try to keep all the real tomb in a good condition.
Before tourists are let in, there's just time for some final touches. How are you feeling? Are you feeling relieved?
I'm feeling deeply stressed, is the truth. So the logistics of trying to do the work we're doing in the heat here, in the chaos, is extraordinary. But the great moment of happiness that makes the stress worthwhile is watching the faces of people walking into it.
Initially, both tombs will be open to visitors, but the long-term plan is to restrict access to the original tomb and ask individuals to fork out a lot more for the privilege of seeing the real deal.
I hope, my opinion, they make a replica for each tomb, and then the people whom they would like to visit the replica by some small money. But if they would like to visit the original tomb, they have to pay a lot of money. This is very good for the tomb itself, and also it's good for the Egyptian income.
I hope people will start to look, and if they do a sort of spot the difference between the facsimile and the original, I would be delighted.
So, a new tomb for Tutankhamun, a new start for Egyptian tourism? Well, maybe. It's certainly a good news story for a country whose reputation has been badly tarnished in recent years. But for this to work, two things have to happen. People have to return to a country they believe is both stable and secure. And they have to feel part of a process of preserving Egypt's magnificent antiquities.